All right, we're going to try this again, guys. Dr. Mary, I know you are here. If you can please comment so I can add you. Let's see. Are you here? Are you here? There. Joined. Invite.
Hey there.
Hi.
How are ya?
Great. Now we can adjust. Let me adjust this a little bit here, and I'll let you do the same thing.
Yep, I definitely need to do that.
Awesome. So excited to have you.
I'm excited to be on. And boy, this whole new thing with live. Okay, how come I'm just trying to figure out how to set the camera, but I guess
Hey,
it'll do.
Jeannie,
I'll just
Gladys.
step back a bit.
Yes, me too. Awesome. So I see we got a few people on here. Gladys and who else is here? Jeannie and Rhonda and quite a few of you guys. Awesome.
Awesome. Hello, everybody.
So for
Glad you're joining us.
Yes, for those of you who do not know me or Dr. Mary, my name is DrSharnael Wolverton-Sehon with Swiftfire. And this is a new friend of mine, Dr. Mary Oliver, who actually met her, I guess, through the book situation.
Yes.
I was given a copy of her manuscript, Mirror, Mirror, What the Heck Happened? And was very impressed, Beyond the Looking Glass and Search for the Real You. And Dr. Mary, I hope that you will go ahead and when you get a chance after, plug whatever link or whatever so people can get access to this book because it's amazing. Great. And it kind of went from there, but she's a naturopathic doctor, and I will actually put up her bio here too. I started to do all of that in the beginning, and then just with the technical stuff, it got kind of lost, but I'll go back and add it. So, but she's in Washington State. Isn't it
Yes.
cool that we can be like in 2 different states at one time and partnering together to help people to get their full on health, mind, body, and spirit. I love that technology can be used for good things too, right?
Yes,
so,
it's exciting.
Before we go this morning, I have a couple specific announcements. Number one, want to remind you, or choose to remind you, that there are other videos here. We did a couple last night with Robert Stevens and some others, and we have a few coming up as well. I have a webinar that I'm doing with my friend Gustav on the importance of Zyto and how to use that for your family and your communities. That'll be October 3rd. And I also have Adina, who is a fitness competition workout guru, who is a new friend of mine also. And she is a brand ambassador for a company called Young Living. And she's actually going to be speaking live here with me October the 14th with a few other people. We have like 1,000 people who are signed up for this live event. And you guys can come to that. But if you don't live in Louisiana and you just choose to jump in on that class on October 3rd, we're going to be teaching about nutrition and the importance of exercise. And so definitely check that out too. And also, lastly, I do want to say today by midnight, if anyone chooses to get a Zyto, going back to the Zyto, I'm offering it for 50% off. And this is a really, really awesome deal. I will post up the information on here as well for that. You have to call my friend Gustav by the close today, or leave a message by the close today, and or fax the forms to him filled out. But Zyto is a great way to not have to guess what's going on with your body, but actually just see exactly what's going on. And it reads it by reading your biofield and connecting with that, which I'm sure Dr. Mary will talk a little bit about today too. So without further ado, thank you so much for being here with us. And go ahead and tell us a little bit about your book and how you got started in the field that you're in, and a little bit of background about who you are.
Okay. First off, I began in the fashion industry in California and moved up here to Seattle and was getting ready to, because a lot of the things were transitioning to China and a lot of work was being done in China for the fashion industry. So I got up here and I was planning on doing more of a boutique kind of thing. And during prayer time, the Lord said, lay it all down. And I'm like, what do you mean? I just spent all this money on equipment and you're telling me to lay it all down. And so, of course, being obedient, I did. And I felt he said, I want you to go into full-time ministry. So I thought, okay. I mean, I loved being involved in leadership with Women's Aglow and some other things that were really helping women in general. And ended up getting my degree in theology and pastoring at a church, and then went on in for a master's in counseling and then the doctorate in naturopathy, naturopathy. And part of it was because in the church, I see the prayer being very effective. However, sometimes the body was still in pain or there were still some emotional issues going on. And I started this search for the whole person, instead of just, go to church and get good sermon and praise Jesus. That's all great. But a lot of people couldn't live it out the rest of the week. And so I decided to do kind of an eclectic thing and get involved in the whole person, spirit, soul, and body. So the book has a lot to do with 30 years of my experience. Each chapter I wrote could actually be a book. And I'm actually starting the second book called Spirit Talk, which takes after the first chapter in the book and dealing with quantum physics and our spirits and how our spirit can engage with the kingdom of heaven at the same time that we're participating on things here on earth. So that's part of why I just wanted to also, I have a vision for healing centers and getting those established and then creating a prototype that can be duplicated. And I'm partnered with some people for that. And the goal is to really teach and educate the church on whole health, to start looking for the divine healing that's offered through Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit, and then to look at complementary things before going the allopathic route. And so our place will be a restoration center that will actually have people come and stay for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and get into the process of knowing good nutrition, being able to have prayer, have counsel, and, everything that's pertaining to wholeness. And what happened, I'm a visionary, so I wanted to experience what that would look like. So I did go to a health center in California, and they claimed to be part of a church, but it was kind of different. There wasn't really prayer or anything like that. And I was used to eating organic and doing, green and all that kind of stuff for quite a while. And people were there and they were used to Burger Kings and, that would be a daily diet. That wasn't something that would be just like a once a week kind of thing or something like that. So if you're eating from Burger King, that's not an issue. It's just looking at your lifestyle, what the food is doing to your gut and your health and all that. And people by the third day were falling apart. Wow. And I'm like going, wow, they are just, well, some people the first night ended up going into the bathroom to vomit because they weren't used to green salads and seed protein and stuff like that. And so it woke me up to see this is something we really need to do, especially for the church. I ended up ministering to people at this place, praying and seeing God heal them because they were so vulnerable by the third or fourth day of not having their junk food that they wanted prayer. They wanted emotional healing. And so I had a great time with that. So I got to see a whole picture of the vision I have is really to just have people encounter Jesus. One gal was like 21 years old. And she had come, she was there because her parents gave her money all the time and said, go on, do your own thing. Instead of having that real connection. And she had a brain tumor and a bad knee. And I asked, do you mind if I pray for you? And she said, wow, nobody has ever asked me that. And I was like, wow, okay, well, is it all right? And she said, yes. She ended up being healed. Her knee was healed immediately. Now, of course, the brain tumor, who knows, until she checked out with the doctor and all that, but I, didn't follow up with her at that point. So, so these are the things that I want to see the church become aware of more and more so. Then, first choice is the medical field and the pharmaceuticals and the things that do harm to the body instead of good. So
yeah, yes, because there are several side effects that all of you guys have seen those commercials where it's like, take this drug, but then it's like really quiet and on the bottom with the beautiful background music going, but it could cause this and this and this and this and this and this. And to me, what's ironic is like someone may be taking something for depression, and on the back end it says may cause depression and or suicide, and you're just like, hey,
go figure.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting. Yes. Well, that's cool. And so do you have your wellness center already set up at this point, or?
We had a center set up, but not the actual retreat center yet. That we're actually meeting with a lot of people that have an interest in it, because we do want to build a prototype. We want it to be sustainable, green building. People that have chemical allergies will be able to come and not deal with chemicals and such. That's on that note too. I got involved with the essential oils with Young Living long time ago, because as I was looking for the eclectic healing of people, I found that the oils had a frequency that helped people get above the level of disease, whatever you want to call it. And in my book, I actually talk a bit about the essential oils. Of course, it's a small chapter, but I share testimonies on some of the things that would happen when I'd apply the oils on people. I'd have them smell, and then I usually do the temporal area and above the ear, because I'm looking for the amygdala and pituitary and the reticular activating system to start diffusing the power that this brain system has in keeping emotions stuck. And I found some pretty fun results, profound, but also fun, and people start having fun using the oils and such. So that's one of the areas that I speak of in my book. But in it, I try to explain how memory is stored in our bodies, how memory is stored in our brain, because looking at a holistic situation, the brain has what we call stuck systems. And it's those stuck systems that prevent the neuroplasticity that the brain needs for change. And so I explain how that happens, because a lot of Christians have come to me and go, well, why do Christians need healing? I don't mean to laugh, but, why don't they? When so many leaders are actually dying of cancer and such, it's like, well, there's healing needed there. And then the emotions, when you have a diagnosis, there's healing needed there. But the stored memory, those first few years of life, are profound. And that's what I've worked with for 30 years, is the memory from early childhood and from within the womb are profound. And that those memories are going to affect you and how you live today. Because there's a part that I call your secret mind. And that's what the secular world calls subconscious memory. I think it's what our spirit's recording. And that secret mind is going to remember, and it's going to come into play all the time, like, oh, I want to do this in life. I want to go forward in life. But something keeps, that quiet voice you're not paying attention to says, no, you can't do that. You were told no when you were little. Remember, anytime you wanted to do something new, you were told no. And so there's those subconscious beliefs that are impacting people from actually moving out and living in their destiny. And I'm all about people living their destiny, getting healed and removing the blocks and moving forward in their destiny and calling.
Yes, I 100,000,000% agree. What would you say to help encourage maybe someone who's on this call, who's maybe dealing with emotional issues on some level? What would be your steps?
Good question, DrSharnael. I've got a gal that's called DrSharnael, so DrSharnael. the first thing is to look at the fact that you need help, that the emotions, usually people start realizing, you know, I'm having struggles in certain areas, and it usually will be an emotional area. And the thing about like the mirror, you know, the reflection is profound, because there's a saying, I'm going to open it up here and read it. It says, we don't see things the way they are, we see things the way
Yes.
we are.
Yes.
And so we can keep looking at situations around us, but what's the common denominator?
Mm-hmm.
Us. You know? And so we might have complaints about relationships at the office and relationships personally and in family and such, but we got to look at what are we mirroring to other people. And so that's where the subconscious memory comes into play too, because we could be mirroring things that we're really unaware of, and it's kind of like a transferring to other people. So if internally, I think I appreciated your interview last night with Robert, because he hit it with that, you know, as you think in your heart, so are you. It's that heart issue, the subconscious memory, that's going to be projected out to people that we see, and it's going to be reflected back to us. And I remember years ago, you know, we can tend to like want to judge, right? Point the finger, 3 fingers back at you, right? So if you're in a situation that you're judging, you got to remember you're it's coming back on you, because it's what's in you that needs to be addressed before you need to be really judging another situation. I'm not saying we don't judge in healthy ways to know what's safe for us or what isn't, but you know, I have found, and that's that reflection too, is that a lot of times something we see in somebody else that we don't like is because there's something in us that we haven't addressed and been healed from. So being more aware of those kind of things can help people start going, you know, I probably need to address some of these issues of healing. Obviously, if there's, you know, if there's serious emotional issues, then they need to see a professional and address that. But there's good things out there. The book is a good tool to help people start with. I actually was excited. This one gal who is an author had called me or actually messaged me. I'm learning all this technology now. And she said, your book is profound. I can't believe how healed I am now. And I'm giving it to my mom to read. And so she has her mom reading it, and we ended up messaging back and forth. And one of the things that she really enjoyed was looking in the mirror, because that's one of the things I share to do. And I mentioned in that a gal I know had actually started looking in the mirror and finding something good about herself. It wasn't, for her, it was her skin. So she'd every day, several times a day, when she looked in the mirror, she'd talk about how beautiful her skin is. She lost 15 pounds without dieting by just affirming herself in the mirror. Well, so this gal who had messaged me, she goes, I'm finding out the real me by looking in the mirror. Well, like Robert's talking about the eye, you know, so you're looking in the mirror and the eye to eye contact. And she's just like going, it's like the real me is coming up and out. I have never been so excited now. Yeah. And so, you know, I love getting testimonies like that when certain things are working for people and helping them along. So
awesome.
One of the things that I have on my website is there's the binaural beats meditation. It's instrumental music.
Yes.
I have people, I send them to the website and say, get some I statements. I am, you know, I mentioned them in the book kind of as a start, and I might have some on the website, but start getting the binaural beats with the solfeggio frequencies music. It's like a 20-minute instrumental meditation. And what that does is it starts working with the neuroplasticity of the brain. The binaural beats actually work kind of like EMDR, if you're familiar with that, the eye movement desensitization, but it's because of what it's doing in the brain. And so the binaural beats with the brain, and then the solfeggio frequencies that are pretty awesome as far as the healing aspect that they deliver too. Get that music on and do your I statements or read the Word of God and continue speaking truth and affirmation into your life. And while you're doing that, the brain is becoming neuroplastic, so it's going to receive truth a lot more than it would if you're just trying to convince yourself that, all these things about yourself are good. They are. In Christ, they are. There's no question about it. But sometimes we have to convince ourselves. And so this is a way that you just can work with the brain aspect of the body, be in your heart, and start decreeing and declaring those things that you know are true of what wonderful, beautiful people you are,
Yes. So. And like we said earlier too, you may not even know what's true. So speak those things that are not as though they are true and start seeing them manifest. And so now as far as the music that she's speaking of, if you go to YouTube, there is so much out there as far, not Whole Tones is great too. If you go to wholetones.com, there's like DVDs, CDs, there's a book on that. There's tons of information on that.
Yes.
You could literally just go to YouTube and I will play it in the background in my office on a regular basis, just because it is really, really uplifting and gives that rest feeling. There's a frequency to it. And, we're all about frequency. Frequency is sound or light, and we are light. God is light, and he set us here as light. When he spoke light into existence, we're still lighting. And when you can have a multiplication of light, whether it's through essential oils or music or decreeing or the word of God or whatever it is that you're doing, we can bring a big, huge multiplication of light and really, really shift things for both inside and in that biofield outside of us. And so definitely something to check out. So I'm looking at our time and we have about 2 minutes left. Would you like to say anything before we leave today? And again, I appreciate you so much.
Well, I appreciate you a lot, DrSharnael. And, I was with your team before I actually sent you the manuscript. And I was so excited when you said, yeah, I'll look at it, So you all know that DrSharnael did endorse the book. And, it's great because I know we have a lot in common. And I know you have a vision too for healing centers and such. So I'm sure we'll be doing a lot more together.
Yes, actually, please pray, because I bought a building for the very purpose. And
wow.
Yeah, it got flooded about 3 months after we purchased it with the big flood that happened last year in August. We got 12 feet of water. And so right now that building has been sitting there. I have a contractor that went last week to start looking at numbers on how to do it, because we didn't have full flood insurance because we had not flooded around there. So we got a little bit back, and that was awesome. But yes, as far as wellness centers, I do have a vision. We already had people lined up for Raindrop and Hyperbaric Chamber. And
that's great.
Robert Stevens was going to be doing Skype classes and or live classes there. And we had a raindrop therapist, and, we had another naturopathic doctor who was going to be doing thermograms there once a week, and a chiropractor. And so, definitely, if you guys choose to vote victory on the wisdom of what to do in that situation, if we're going to go forward, that would be great. And definitely send light to her and her situation too. I'm really believing in seeing these wellness centers popping up all over, and not necessarily under any umbrella of the church, because I believe that I am the church, and so we can be church anywhere. And what I love about our industry is that when we stepped out of the church and really started moving in our counseling and nutrition and this whole naturopathic world, for me, it was God saying, hey, time to step outside the church in that arena of who you had in the church, and I'm going to give you the whole world now. And so the platform for the entire world is a lot bigger, and it's a lot cooler and fun, and I'm really enjoying it. I definitely know there are people called to the church, and there's grace for that, and I love all of you who do that. I did that for years, and I know you have too. And so it's interesting how a lot of people are being called out to be the church instead of go to church. And so anyway, but we love you so much.
That's true.
I thank you very, very much. If you could, please post your website and any information you have on your book, or how we can contact you and get more connected with you. And
great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You have a wonderful weekend. And I thank you so much. Bless you.
You too. Sending you light.
Yes. Bye, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.